Fatherly.com put out an article recently talking about the 3 parenting mistakes that make kids more aggressive. And I thought it was interesting because being a parent is an ever-evolving journey. It's filled with a lot of mixed moments where we get it right, and in times where in hindsight, we realized there was a better approach. So let's dive into what they said with some common parent mishaps and what my thoughts on them are. So the first mistake they said was emotional and aggressive reactions to the things that our kids do. To summarize it, they basically said when our kids fight out or act out, parents sometimes react too quick, and this can make our kids feel like they're not being heard. So instead, parents should take a deep breath, stay calm, and try to understand why the kid acted out in the first place. And my thoughts on this is, that initial urge to react emotionally and aggressively, or even with a raised voice, is something that many of us can resonate with. I too had to learn the skill of pausing and reflecting before responding. Our initial instinct is to vent our frustrations, but this can cause more harm than good. And speaking from personal experience, I know that the fear of a calm warning from my dad when he's not raising his voice just in a calm tone, it was always more intimidating than when he was loud and yelling at me because he was frustrated. So I'm in full agreement with this point. The second mistake that they said was overly harsh punishments or being too strict. And the point that they made with this was some parents punish their kids too harshly, like yelling or giving long timeouts, and that this can actually make kids act out more. So that it's important for parents to be firm, but also be kind and understanding, because being too strict can actually make things worse. This one's tricky because being super strict can sometimes push your kids away. I've seen it firsthand, but I also remember the times when my dad was super strict with me, and it did make me think twice before doing something bad again. Like one time, my dad gave me a whooping with a water hose. Yeah, an actual water hose. But that's a story for another time. It was a little excessive. He'd say the same thing, and it was only one time, but it worked for me. I don't plan on being super strict with my kids, but I do believe in setting clear rules for them to follow. And so the third mistake they said was not noticing ADHD signs. And the point they made with this was that some kids act out quickly without thinking, especially if they have trouble controlling their impulses. And that if parents treat this as just, bad behavior and don't actually understand what the real issue is, it can upset the kids even more. So it's important to recognize if a kid is acting out on impulse and help them think before they act out. I agree with this because it is important to know if a kid has ADHD, which makes it hard for them to control their actions. My nephew has ADHD, and before we knew he did, we thought he was just misbehaving, which I'm sure most parents do. So parents just need to understand kids better instead of just thinking they're being bad. And they ended the article by giving a tip to help with these mistakes, which was to become close friends with your kids, because this actually helps out a lot, especially if they're acting out sometimes, and having a good bond with them makes everything easier. So to wrap it up, being a parent is tough, but by thinking about our choices and learning, we can do our best for our kids. Let me know what you think about this article in the comments. Do you agree with these? Did they miss something? Or did you learn something from it? And if you enjoyed this video, make sure to watch some of the other videos on my channel about parenting. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.